see, I'm 28 years old, about to turn 29. I've been married for 6 years. I have two children. I have a 4-year old and a 2-year old. I started a family incredibly young in life because that's what I was told to do. That was what I was told would give me purpose and was my end all be all. Well, I'm here, and it may make me a shitty father. It may make me a shitty husband. Um, but my family is my world. Yet, I was unprepared. I was unprepared to take on the responsibility that is a family. And what's funny about feeling like I'm doing better has actually been more of a process of letting go than it is of skilling up or changing my mindset. I mean, mindset is downstream from all those things, but I've noticed that as I have started a family, as I've been married, the amount of expectation that I have felt from, I can't even say society, because my perception of what society is colored by my own perception. It's untrue. It's an abstraction. It is a set of beliefs and subjective observations that I have about what society wants and demands of me that I then begin to project onto myself as standards by which I need to live. Otherwise, I provide no value. And it's been really hard to unpack a lot of those expectations and shoulds. I have a podcast, and one of my podcast guests earlier this evening actually talked about psychological diarrhea, where people are literally shoulding all over themselves. And I thought that was great. But all of these shoulds, I was unprepared to be a father because I wasn't alone. I wasn't myself, and still am not to a large degree, but much more me than I was when I first got married or decided to bring children into the world. Where so much of what I have been driven towards accomplishing have been these abstracted societal expectations. And that even boils down to the small things with my wife, where I have had delusions about what she expects from me. And her and I had a good conversation one time, and it became pretty clear that what I think she expects of me is not at all what she expects of me. And I had been operating from this place of constantly not being able to fulfill these shoulds and expectations that weren't even real. It didn't exist. And I think as I've been able to look at that, those shoulds and those expectations, I have from others, I can also see the shoulds and the expectations that I bring to the table, that I expect from my family, from my children. And being a father's freaking tough, man. Kids are crying, they're shitting their pants. You work a 9 to 5, and you feel like you shouldn't be working a 9 to 5. Because right now, that's kind of the hustle culture thing to say, that you shouldn't be doing this. And that was one of the things that I've had to kind of take back and ponder in solitude is the valid shouldiness of that phrase. And I think for myself, I have come to realize that that is something that I want for me, to be home with them, to be able to drop them off at school and pick them up and be able to get, work those 6 hours and those 6 hours alone while they're at school. But I've only been able to arrive at that after I've taken a cold, hard look at the bullshit inside my head. So, what you think is expected of you may not be what's expected of you, and you may not have to do this thing. You don't have to. You can choose to want to. If you can get rid of all the input, if you can go camping for a day safely, if you can go for a walk for an hour a day, if you can lock yourself out of your phone, if you can turn on grayscale on your phone and avoid the phone and avoid the inputs and sit in silence and solitude and drive to work alone and meditate daily, I think you can start to get a pretty good picture of what the hell you actually want. And then you can go do it because you want to, not because you feel like you have to. And I'm not at that point by any means, but I'm getting glimpses of it. And it's really exciting. And it's really exciting to be able to take this practice and what I'm doing right now and one day be able to teach my children. And that's a cool thought, that my kids won't have to suffer as much. Hopefully, right? Maybe that screws them up even further. Who fucking knows? But I think it is cool to think about being able to work through some of these things that is part of living on the planet in the year 2024, is learning how to dissolve yourself of all the external stimuli that you get and tuning your radio to the internal stimuli that largely gets drowned out. Thank you for coming. These are my psychological ramblings. These are my ramblings. This is my video diary. Shoulds are shitty. Go clean yourself up. Get rid of the inputs. Go for a walk. Go meditate. Leave your phone out of the bathroom. Take care.